be wondering why go to a game like this immediately after Super Mario Bros. 3, arguably the NES game. The answer is, when Third and I first were sitting down and hammering out how we were going to do this, we were really debating format. Our first idea was to just go through franchises, you know, all the Mega Mans, all the Marios, all the Zeldas, all the Ninja Gaidens, you know, that kind of a thing. But we realized that that would taint the results of it, both for me and for him, and would also kind of get old because you'd always, you know, it would always be Mega Man, Mega Man, Mega Man, Mega Man with no variety. So we decided to go with a slightly different thing instead. Now, I actually kind of suggested this, mostly because I know that while this is effectively my full-time job, you know, as long as I have time for my ruminations and my other works, I don't have trouble making time for this. Third has two jobs right now. He's self-employed, and he's got his own business, which is going really well. Definite props to him. Congrats, Third. But, you know, he's also got his other job to make ends meet. So this is something that he does as a hobby. So kind of as a kindness there, I decided what we'd do is we'd do a long game and a short game and a long game and a short game. And we'd also try to vary the quality a bit. Not necessarily going from great to terrible, but, you know, not trying to follow Super Mario Bros. 3 with, for example, Mega Man 3, or Legend of Zelda, or Ninja Gaiden 2, or any other games that I consider the truly great NES games. So one of the other things we decided is we'll also be bouncing around between the NES and the SNES a bit. Now, before we really hammered out a lot of this, we actually had already, I should say, had already started playing through 3 of the games on the list. So we're going to do 3 NES games to start. I already know what they all are. Then we'll switch to the SNES. But from that point on, we're probably going to do it like a 2 SNES, 2 NES, 2 SNES, 2 NES kind of a thing from that point on. Now, that being said, Die Hard. If you went back to me when I was younger, you know, teenager era, and said to me, you know, what are good video games based off of movies, I'd basically only have 2 answers for you. Batman and this one, Die Hard, both on the NES, obviously, because that's what was out. I'd played plenty of video game adaptations of movies that were bad, and some that were atrocious. Total Recall. But, don't ever play Total Recall. But the point is, one of the reasons I feel that both Die Hard and Batman both succeeded is they had a relatively interesting game mechanic, or game mechanics. In Batman, it was well, I don't want to talk about Batman, but in this game, you know, there were several interesting game mechanics about it. And the way the game was presented was, it was the premise of the movie as a game, rather than trying to either adhere to the game, or just going off into Na-Na land and having no sense-making whatsoever. So, nice little happy medium there. That being said, Die Hard the game is pretty much the definition of a popcorn game to me. I played it, you know, on the NES several times, beat it finally, and then basically put it down. It was actually a game I traded in. I shouldn't even call it that. It wasn't called that back then. Back then, we actually had used game stores whose only purpose was buying and selling video games that were used. And Die Hard was one of the games that went on the chopping block, specifically much later on in order to buy Mega Man 6. Good trade, I'd think. But the point is, while there was nothing really wrong with the game, I wouldn't really praise it either. So, you know, we'll see exactly how it works in that. Now, I was really interested to hear Third's idea on this, because Third actually really likes the movie. I mean, hell, I really like the movie. I think the movie is not a popcorn movie. I think that's a movie that has endured rather well. But based on that, I'm afraid we're going to have to see exactly what Third did think of it. So, take us away, Third.
You know, when I was assigned Die Hard to play, a movie license game on the NES right after Mario 3, I knew that this game was going to be crap. But, actually, as it turns out, it's not. Oh man, one of the greatest popcorn action movies ever made into a game. Man, did they have a lot of good elements to pull from. They had good villains, lots of bad guys, guns, explosions, guns, more explosions, guns, everything. Yeah. I don't really claim to be any good at a controller, but this seems a bit harder than it should be. Just trying to shoot a guy with a pistol is kind of a chore. Yeah, now I got a machine gun! Oh, I guess it's called an SMG in this game. Whatever. So after I got the machine gun, or excuse me, the SMG, this game just kind of devolved into a spray and pray. Since the bad guys in this game duck and weave so much, that's kind of how I had to play the game, just shoot in a general direction and hope one of the shots hits a bad guy. You know, thinking about it, I'm not actually sure if that's them just trying to stay true to the movie, or if that's just a result of bad shooter controls. It actually could go either way. Alright, Cowboy, let's blow away the, you know, I really don't remember John having to take down that many, but that's okay. So we've got a lot of items here that John actually used in the movie. That's cool and that's good. So right over here we have... Hang on. What's this? Oh, okay, I took down the main computer. I don't remember that from the movie, but that's kind of interesting actually. It's something extra you can do to slow down the crooks. Oh, thanks, John. I guess we're not doing that scene. That classic, iconic scene. Nope, not doing it. You know, it's kind of interesting that the enemies all move through the level as you do. They use the elevator, they get sent down by Hans to take you down, they shoot and run from you instead of just charging. I honestly really liked the way they did the enemy movements and events in this game. It made it seem a lot more alive and less scripted than it actually is. And points to the game for giving the player choices as well. Throughout all the various new games I did, I never really felt that there was a particular way that I had to go through each level. Each playthrough was actually slightly different. Alright, sending Carl down, huh? Let's see what we can do about that. Yeah, doesn't seem as tough as he was in the movie. Get this, when I was nearing the end, John did something absolutely brilliant. He decided it would be a good idea to toss the detonator into the wall. Foolproof. Now those terrorists can't get it. Alright, so what exactly am I supposed to do now? I can't go down to the 30th floor because the hostages are still there, even though it told me a while back that they were going up to the roof for evac. Am I just going to lose? What's going on here? Oh, okay. Now I can go down? Guess I can now. Like quite a few older games, this one doesn't really tell you exactly what to do. Now, I had the advantage of knowing what happens in the movie, which helped a lot, but I imagine you'd probably have a difficult time with this if you hadn't seen the movie. Also, the fact that planting C4 anywhere near the top floors just kills you instantly, that's just cruel. There's a door there that you normally use C4 to break through, but it just kills you if you try that.
Up here. Alright. This is the place to blow C4, right? Wait, what?
Alright, now let's go and rescue my wife. Yeah, you're dead now, Hans. So, the game is over. That was a short but surprisingly sweet game. Just like the movie, this is a fun little popcorn game. Although not revolutionary in any way, it does have its moments that make it an entertaining little play. The way they worked the various moments from the movie in as timed or triggered events was actually pretty cool. However, there's really very little replayability to me in this game, even in advanced mode. This is a game I'd purchase for a discount price, play it through once, tell myself that it was a decent game, and then never touch it again. I was told that this game was priced around $50 when it came out. For what it gives you, that is way overpriced in my opinion. Take that down a little bit and you've got a pretty good match, but for what it gives you, definitely not worth $50. The only stamp that this game receives is the Save the Princess stamp. It is definitely an average game, but let me stress that it is not a bad thing for a game to be called average. Doesn't mean it's a bad game, it just means that it set out to be an entertaining game, and it accomplished exactly that. You know, this is one of the few movie licensed games I've played in a while that I actually liked. It also made me go watch the movie again after I played it, which I suppose says something about how it did its job. Out of an absolutely mess of movie licensed games, this one actually stands out, and for that, I applaud it. If you are a fan at all of Die Hard, then I suggest you go out and you give this game a try if you get the chance. If not, you're probably not missing much.
So as I was getting ready for this playthrough, I had a funny idea, and I spoke with one of my consultants, my creative consultants, so to speak, and she told me that I should totally do something that I am now about to do. So without further ado, we're now going to talk about Die Hard the game in as quick of a manner as possible. Ready to go. She told me that I should go ahead and use standard speedrun strats in order to do the any % run, so here it is, Die Hard the end! And that was Die Hard the game. Wow, this game is a lot shorter than I remember. Oh well, I guess that was good enough. No? You want me to keep going? Yeah, okay, hang on. For the record, we are playing on beginner, because I'm not crazy. Now, for those of you who are not aware, I actually do know a decent amount about this game, believe it or not. And it is entirely because of the fact that I have speedrun this game, mostly for joking purposes, but still for the sake of amusement and whatnot. And there was kind of a, well, I hesitate to call it a meme, but it's really what it was. There was kind of a meme that kind of started in the speedrunning community last year, basically. And as a result of it, a lot of people really found amusement in the speedrun of Die Hard, which is about 5 minutes long. Now, I was advised not to actually do that here, because that would be something you guys would probably hate, and I'd have so little time to actually enjoy the game. Plus, it would kind of be interesting in the long run now, wouldn't it? You'll notice I'm just kind of hanging out here. That's because the actual goal of this game is to kill all the bad guys. See? There are 37 bad guys. You can see it right there. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this game a bit. The way this works is this is somewhat modeled after the premise of the movie, as I mentioned earlier. What happens is, you have to kill all the bad guys, then you have to get down to the floor, you know, then you have to go ahead and take out the guy, you know, blah blah blah. It's actually a little more complicated than that. There's a little few more things you could do, tactically speaking, than that, you know, blah blah blah. But, one of the more mundane strategies you can use is just stand at an elevator kind of like this, and every now and again, something will happen, which you've already seen a few times, and he'll be like, hey, go check it out. He'll come check it out, and it will happen. And then they'll come out of this elevator and you'll shoot them. Now, I want to stress this because this game is actually surprisingly well designed, all things considered. And I mean this sincerely. This game actually has a decent attempt at AI. It has actual tactical options in a NES top-down shooter game, for God's sakes. Which, I don't know if you know how rare and uncommon that is, but... oh my goodness, hang on, I need to concentrate for just a second! Oh god. Do we get him? Nope, there's one left. Oh my god, terrorist scum, except you're not, you're just a crook. Because everyone knows that it's much better to pretend to be a terrorist rather than a thief, right? Right? Anyways, getting back to my point. With the amount of options you have of what you can do in this game, I mean, you've got the grenades, you've got the C4 you can plant, and this is actually really cool. It actually does keep track of where the enemies are, at least with regards to the levels, at any given point in time. So, when you start the game, people who have ripped about this code of this game can tell you, notice it's actually lagging a bit now. That's because there's a little, well, you'll see in a moment here, as soon as we find the elevator. It should be down this way. Yep, there he is. And there's another guy on here. It actually kept track of the fact that he was here, because he landed here, so to speak. And so they're all on certain parts on the levels, and they're all just kind of moving around to the levels, and every now and again Hans will be like, hey, go check out this level, because, you know, I just heard a bunch of people die on this level, and therefore I want to know what's happening, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's nice. It's surprisingly in-depth for an NES game. Now, I know, you know, I do have to add that addendum for an NES game, but I do still think that deserves props in its own right because, and this is the all-important point, it's still fun, and I still find enjoyment. Whoa, whoa. Speaking of which, that's another thing you will hear. Like I mentioned earlier, the elevator, you'll hear it anywhere on the entire floor. You'll actually hear a ding. Uh-oh. Half an hour to go. You'll actually hear a ding when the elevator opens anywhere on the floor to alert you that someone else has shown up. Now we have 29 crooks left, and we're kind of low on health. So we need to start being a little bit careful. We're actually doing alright on ammo, though. So for those of you who have not played this game, there's actually a timer, basically. The speedrun involves artificially running that timer down so that all the crooks come to one floor, and then you can kill them all much quicker. In case you're wondering. Uh-oh. For those of you who are curious, you have 8 directional shots. That's pretty cool. But once you kill all the crooks, that's when Big Crook shows up. That would be... guy whose name I can't remember. He's definitely an interesting... I actually can't think of his name. Oh, well, he's the big guy, the big doomy German guy. German guy, excuse me. Who was really mad you killed his brother. You know, that guy. Who somehow survived being hanged from a chain? How the hell did that even happen? Is this an aircraft carrier? Holy crap. And then, of course, you have to kill Hans himself. Now, here's the sucky part. You'll notice I have 1 health left. This is actually really bad, because healing can happen in this game. But, well, so far it hasn't been happening, is, I guess, probably the best way to put that. Oh god, I'm dead. Well, this is a good time to explain what happens when you die. You start over, because this is an S game. See, 40 crooks, pistol, nothing else. Let me go ahead and just be honest with you and say that one of the things I hate most about any game design ever is the punishment being you start over completely and lose all progress. I am a huge proponent of save points or mid-mission checkpoints like Grand Theft Auto started using finally in the Ballad of Gay Tony, or like Mario really started using in Super Mario World, you know, etc. Uh-oh. We better be ready for him. Gotta be ready. Yeah, Berserk! Oh god, he's right there. Oh god, yeah. Right. I'm Bruce Willis, not Arnold Schwarzenegger. Wrong mentality. This is actually a good time to show off something here. I'm actually going to go up 2 floors to show off something that I really want to show off here. This is something that was actually quite common in older games that you don't really see all that often nowadays. For obvious reasons, though. And don't mistake this for, oh, the older days were better kind of a comment. It's just interesting because it isn't necessary in more modern games. And I'm dead. Oh god, there's someone here. No! Grenade! It's okay, it's actually a flashbang, which is why it stuns you for a while. Keeping in mind that, yes, I know what a flashbang does in real life, and yes, it would be a lot more brutal than that. Whatever. We don't want to get into that, do we? I mean, really? Realism in a NES game about Die Hard? Come on, dude. But no. I wanted to show it off on this level. See, the reason this isn't necessary in a modern game is a modern game can actually render whatever you're looking at. Usually it's, you know, third-person perspective, or, you know, first-person perspective, or something along those lines, right? There's no need to artificially create a situation where you have to specifically render certain aspects of the screen in order to indicate what your line of sight is. But here, this is a great example. See, I'm here. That's actually a window that's been shattered. I know it's hard to tell. That stuff is glass. And then we do this, and now we can see in there a bit, and now we can see at that angle. You'll notice it's all designed around 8 angles. That's actually how your aiming is, too. 8-angle shooting. But then you go in here, and you can see all this. But, of course, if I go over here, I can see out there because the window... You get what I'm going with this. It's a nice little feature. A fair amount of NES games did it. This is not exactly unique in that. But it's something I always appreciated. And I gotta be honest, I promised my creative consultant, whose name is Sweet Booze. No, I'm kidding. I promised her that I would go ahead and, if I could not actually defeat this game normally, which would normally qualify as a stamp for having failed, or rather the lack of a stamp for having failed at doing it, I would go ahead and use a strategy that I know for a certainty will in fact work. It's very difficult, but I know it works and I know how to do it. So, you may or may not be in for a treat. I, of course, just died again. I'm gonna give it, what do you guys think? Let's give it 10 more deaths. You may think that's a lot of deaths. If you think that, you didn't see how many times I died in Mario 3. One other thing that I find interesting here is, with regards to tactical choices, I can already tell one of the choices that this game is trying to engender in me. And it's fascinating that the game is trying to encourage me on one of these 2 paths, without any dialogue boxes, without any tutorial boxes, without any, you know, oh, hey, you should play like this, just due to the design and nature of the game. Now, you may be wondering what those are. There's 2 options I have here, tactically speaking. Hey, how's my ammo? Okay, my ammo's good enough to show off. I can spray, hang on. See, I can spray like that, or I can try to be precise. Now, if you've been noticing, one of the things I've been trying to do is be precise. Get in one shot, because only one bullet is needed to kill these guys. So get in one shot, right at the right angle, and get them, and then get the hell out of the way of their bullets. And I'm basically treating this like a bullet hell game. And that's usually how I play bullet hell games. At least the ones where you don't just destroy the entire screen constantly. You know which one you are. As a point of historical curiosity, I probably should at least point out the... Oh god, they can shoot through walls? You frickin' cheaters! No, let me move! Let me move! Oh my god. That's another thing I haven't actually mentioned yet. The guys actually have a random chance with their shots to just stun you. But that chance is not a decreasing value, by which I mean, if they hit you, it is possible their next shot, which hits you because you're not moving, can hit you and stun you. And then their next shot can hit you and stun you. And they literally stun lock you into oblivion. Graphics glitches, graphics glitches, graphics glitches are what are happening. the controls are a little bit not as good as they should be. I'm actually straining my thumb a little bit to play this game properly. Part of it's because, okay, you have to hold... you see the difference here? I know it looks minor, but you have to hold down B to run. Now you'd be like, well, you have to do that in a lot of games. But in this game, you literally never don't hold down B. You always hold down B, 100% of the time. Now, the reason that's hurting my thumb, my left thumb and not my right thumb, is because after a while, it gets to the point where you have to hold... Your left hand, which is holding this, has to push down harder to accommodate for the fact that your right hand is pushing down in order to literally, constantly maintain this pressure on the B button. This is true. This is not a problem exclusive to this game. It's something that I found irritating in many games in the past, and I really do wish that that was, you know... That was not a feature, basically. Another fun fact, this game uses so much of the resources of the NES, basically keeping track of all the characters, all the items, and all the things that they can do. Pretty much most of the resources of the game are devoted to those things. So that's one of the reasons why every single character in the entire game is literally the exact same model, and just palette swapped. I mean, I look just the same as these crooks, and so does Super Crook, whose name I still don't remember, and so does Hans, and I believe so does your wife. I could be wrong on that one. That being said, I do feel like they actually did a pretty good job with the 8-bit feel of this place to make it feel like the office building, the Nakatomi building. Each of these levels does have a distinct feel towards it, graphically speaking, which is pretty cool. So let's talk about basic video game logic here. Each of these guys drops different stuff. Oh god, that's death 3. Each of these guys drops different things. Green guys drop Coca-Cola. I'm actually not sure what it's supposed to be, but it's health. And blue guys here drop ammo. And I believe the white guys drop flashbangs? I'm not even 100% sure on that one. Oh, hang on. Gotta lay a trap once again. Oh, okay, so we just stepped on glass. Notice my feet is now damaged. That's a pretty good way to get across the point that they actually keep track of feet as a health thing. It slows you down, of course. You know, that's one of the major things it does. But it also affects how much time passes when you go up and down a staircase. By the way, I'm doing this to demonstrate just how slow you go when your feet power is pretty low. I mean, look at this. I might as well be crawling on the ground, bloodied feet and all that. I mentioned earlier the 8 thing. You'll notice that's not 100% true. Oh, God, really? That's how the spread thing comes into play. They actually have a grand total of, I believe, 16 points of movement. And it's actually pretty advanced, relatively speaking, for the time. The hell? I can't drink the Coke. No! No! Defeated by product placement. So I mentioned earlier, and by earlier I mean like 2 weeks ago, in Mario Bros. 3, that it takes certain types of things in a game to make it so you don't actually get frustrated when you die repeatedly in it. Some games do this well, some games do not. This is true even into the modern era. So far, I haven't gotten frustrated with this game, but then again, I've only died like, what, 8 times? Oh god, 8 times or so? Give or take. That might have something to do with why. But I think if I had to explain why it is I don't really feel frustrated yet, it'd be because of the fact that there's a surprising amount of variety to how the thing starts. The amount of time you spend on the start screen actually determines the starting locations for where the guys are. You can go up, or you can go down, or you can go to this level, you can dodge this level. They could be in different parts of the level, they could drop different things. That would be the next death. That, and I really do want to try and beat this game without using the speedrunning strat. This is another thing that I mentioned about a decent amount of level design that went into it. You may actually remember this scene from the movie. This is the scene where he's hiding under the table while the crook is on top shooting at him. Kind of like an idiot, if I'm being honest with myself. It's just nice that they bothered to put that level of detail into the level design. Granted, as mentioned before, this is not a large game, so, you know, it makes sense that they would bother doing so because they don't have much else to spend it on, other than, of course, everything I talked about earlier, the AI, the locations, memory, etc. You know, it occurs to me the crooks in this game are actually better shots than they were in the movie. I'm not sure if that's funny or not. You may be wondering why I'm not talking about the lore and the history of this game. It's Die Hard. What do you want from me? There's crooks. They're pretending to be terrorists. They're not. There's a Christmas tree. That's actually a pretty nice Christmas tree. I'm impressed. Christmas tree. I don't remember where I was. Man, that's just how great the plot of Die Hard is. But no, seriously, all of Die Hard is basically just a setup for the enjoyment of the action vehicle. It could be argued that, you know, on the 5 points of story, the only thing it actually does particularly well is character development, or rather characterization. Which, yeah, I can totally agree with that. There's at least 3 characters that are very well defined, and several others that are, you know, defined at all. Which, for an action flick in this day and age, is actually pretty impressive. And by this day and age, I mean when Die Hard came out, not the modern age. Fun fact. Yeah, oh god, that's actually really convenient timing. These crooks can hide basically wherever, and they make no indication of where they are other than... Well, okay, sometimes you'll hear the sound, but for all intents and purposes, you don't really know they're there. There are several occasions, as I've been playing this game this time, and that was one of them just now, where I'd encounter a crook who was literally hiding in one of these rooms where it's just a small room and there's nothing else in there. And I feel like this is literally like a classic horror movie, peekaboo, kind of a situation, where they're just in there like, hey... I probably shouldn't have walked over the glass. Whatever. I'm John McClane. I got this. Aw, I can't destroy the aircraft carrier. I'm sad. Yeah, I'm out of foot power. Sigh. I always knew Shredder would let me down. I actually only know where 2 of the first aids are off the top of my head. But by god, I am not looking anything up for this frickin' game. Might have to look it up for Mylon's Castle, but not this one. Those of you wondering the significance of using the elevator instead of the stairs, it wastes less in-game time, basically. I mentioned the time limit you have to kind of beat, and when your foot power is this low, you waste tons of time going up the stairs. Okay, I take it back. This guy is a terrible shot. True to movie. Yay. Oh, Christmas tree, I shoot all of your branches. You know, let's go ahead and say one thing that is starting to get on my nerves very slightly, and that's the fact that there's basically only 3 soundtracks to this damn game. Title screen, standard, which you're listening to right now, and, foot pain. And the, oh my god, there's enemies on the screen. That's basically it. If there's any others, I'll let you know as I can count on them. Here's a question. I haven't stepped on any glass this playthrough. Why's my foot power gone to hell? I'll tell you one thing this game does both correctly and incorrectly, depending on your perspective. It doesn't tell you anything. Now, on the correct side of things, that encourages a degree of exploration. You actually are rewarded for going out and exploring the maps. On the downside, it can lead to frustration, especially if you don't enjoy that particular type of gameplay, and you just, you know, want to get on with it. Both arguments are valid, I'm not saying plus or minus, but I actually am enjoying the I can just go wherever and explore wherever aspect so far. Oh, dude. I'm actually in the air ducts. Oh, that's awesome. What? Don't make fun. Oh, okay, you can make fun if you want to. Am I just rolling around in the air duct? I think I am. Oh, shoot. I just missed whatever he just said. Oh, jeez. How did he know I was here? I was in the air duct. I guess my foot power's already gone to hell, so I can just walk on glass now. How's that for an amusing thought? Well, my feet are already scabbed and cut to hell and back. I might as well just keep walking on glass. Da, 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 da. Huh. I've played this game several times, and I didn't know that punching was even an option. Wow. I may have to do that more often. Here, let's see if we can punch someone else. Hey, guys. Okay, I don't think this is working. Oh, God. I'm almost hitting the wrong button. That might be part of it. No, God. Punch. Punch. Am I punching or shooting? I can't tell. Yeah, definitely feels more like an Arnold Schwarzenegger film here. I can't believe I missed a chance to do this joke. Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. Well, it's actually an SMG. It's a machine gun, but whatever. Actually makes me wonder why they summarized it some SMG. Wow, I actually shot him through the door. I am amazing. This is it, guys. I can feel it. This is the playthrough where I won't die. Now, you're watching this, so you know what's going to happen. Or rather, I guess you will know what's going to happen. But I literally don't. I have no idea if I'm going to die or not. But I'm going to do my damnedest. I'm going to get hit by every flash grenade and not die. Why am I losing foot power? I haven't hit any glass. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call that a flat negative. Why do you lose foot power even if you don't touch glass? That literally makes no sense. I mean, is John McClane just that far out of shape? Ugh. Oh, my feet. I don't like being on my feet this long. Or, wait, is this game actually postulating that John McClane is going through this entire section barefoot? Wait a minute. Maybe the game's actually telling me that John McClane's feet are made of glass. I knew it. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Feel that glass in there. It's just like a nice warm sauna bath on your feet. Made of glass. Well, I guess that's that. It's time to use the speedrunning strats. That other mechanic is, your gun can randomly jam. Seriously. Sometimes it just will not fire. And it's not lag frames or input delay or anything like that. It is literally just the gun jamming. It's part of the game. So we're going to go and run this live, because I'm probably going to fail miserably, but at least this way I can explain the speedrunning strat for those of you who have never actually seen it. See, the goal, from a speedrunning perspective, is to kill all the dudes, right? That's the goal. Kill all 30 of the crooks, kill Super Crook, and then kill Hans. And then you win the game, right? And then I can't shoot this guy. Holy crap. So, the best way to do that, believe it or not, is to completely run out of time. Now you notice I'm walking on glass very much on purpose this time. The idea here is to get my foot power as low as possible, because as I mentioned earlier, you actually have very little, once you have low foot power, you lose tons of time, there we go, walking up and down these steps, so... And then we have this, which, to this day, reminds me a little bit of FF4 more than it does of Die Hard. If you don't understand that, don't stress it. We're going to go ahead and skip ahead a bit, because this is literally just me doing this stuff for a bit, so... See you in a bit. I guess there's one other song that plays during this game. Now, the reason the speedrunning strat is so damn risky is you now have to kill all of the remaining crooks in order to unlock killing the big crook, in order to unlock killing Hans, in order to win the game. And you have to do it in 3 minutes and 26 seconds, or, you know, whatever. In other words, the amount of time you have left on the lower right there. That's it. When that ends, game over. There's actually several ways the game can end at this point in time. I have seen at least 3. Dying is obviously the worst and most aggravating, but entirely feasible and possible to happen. I am actually very likely to die at this point. I am very nervous, to be honest with you, especially given my death ratio so far throughout this playthrough. Good news is, green guys drop health. That's pretty much the only reason this is feasible at all, without being really, really good at this game. Ugh. Battle Royale. How many do we have left, I wonder? Got him. Come on. There we go. Got him. I think the big guy's up. No, I'm wrong. It's just some normal guys. And I can't aim. No! No! Oh god, I'm alive. I'm alive. Holy crap. No! I really need to... Oh, jeez, it's the big guy. It's the big guy. I'm so dead. Big guy's up. That's bad. That's incredibly bad. Oh god, give me that health. Give me that health. Give me that health. Oh god. No! Give me the health. 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 Let me move! Ah! This is also why this strat is risky, is because you have no foot power because of that whole earlier thing about running down the timer. Yeah. How did that miss you? God, my thumb actually hurts from how much I'm squeezing my freaking game. Ah! For those keeping track, that took me 5 tries at the speedrunning strat to do this, but this is it. Oh god, the helicopter just exploded. That's terrible. Okay, now we gotta take out Hans. Drop the weapon, cowboy. Holly, move! Holly, that was her name. Oh god, he takes more than 2 hits. I don't know how many hits he takes. 3, 4. Oh, what? No! Oh my god! Oh my god! I've never seen that! I have never seen that game over screen. That's another one! That's another new one. By the way, the other one is if you run out of time, but you manage to get right to the end there, with just Hans left, he escapes in an ambulance with her. Wow! Okay. I gotta do that all over again, but I actually don't mind that much because of how awesome that ending was. Okay, a little less short on time here. Whoa! Yeah. But I'm getting better at this, so I have some high hopes for actually pulling this stuff off. Yes! 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 Holly is safe and alive, but the crook's destroyed at the top. Oh, because I took too long. Whatever, I did it. I won. I'm still calling that a success. Oh my god. Now you might be asking, what happens when you hit start? What's your ending? That was your ending. As I mentioned back in Mario 3, most NES games basically didn't have an ending. So, bottom line, did my opinion of this game change? Actually, basically no, it really didn't. I still think of this as a popcorn game. It was still enjoyable. I still had fun playing it. It still irritated me. I still appreciated certain aspects of it. I still enjoyed the gameplay, even though the story... Well, I want to say there is no story, but it's actually very well presented with events happening at cute times and stuff like that. Stuff that I didn't even notice before. And of course there was that ending I'd literally never even heard of before, so that was pretty awesome. Bottom line, I am still very impressed with this game, and I still enjoyed it, but I'm probably never going to play it again. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and give this a stamp of Save the Princess, because I did actually beat the game. Still wasn't very frustrated though, and still wasn't bad, still didn't have any other main issues with it, so this game doesn't actually get any other stamps in addendum to that. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you around at the next one. Ching.